Hi everyone, the small engine mechanic here. Today we are going to be servicing a Cub Cadet self-propelled mower. We're going to put a jack stand under the deck to prevent the oil from pouring out the front when removing the valve cover. We're going to use a 10mm and remove the starter, then the blower housing. This will allow us to use the flywheel to set the valves up for checking and adjusting. Next, we're going to remove the spark plug. Always inspect the tip. It can tell you a lot about the engine's performance. Using a 10mm, we're going to remove the 4 bolts holding the valve cover on. And remove the valve cover. This engine uses a high temperature RTV gasket. Unlike most engines, the intake valve is on the bottom of this engine. So, rotate the flywheel till the intake goes in and comes back out. Once it is all the way out, insert an extension into the spark plug hole and continue to rotate the engine flywheel until the extension stops moving outward. Now, you are ready to check the clearance. This engine is clearance is 5/1000 plus or minus 2/1000 of an inch. The exhaust is too loose. The intake is set just right. That's why it's always best to check them first. To adjust these valves, you will need a 14mm wrench and a 10mm wrench. While holding the 14mm, loosen the 10mm nut. Insert the feeler gauge and check for resistance. If too loose, you will use the 14mm to tighten the resistance up. Once resistance is felt, hold the 14mm and tighten the 10mm nut. Then recheck. There should be some resistance, but it should still be able to move. After applying a thin film of high temperature RTV gasket sealant to the valve cover, install the valve cover. I cannot stress enough to start the screws by hand. Then tighten them down evenly. Do not over-tighten. Next, we're going to install the factory part number spark plug. Part number 951-10292A. You can also use the BPR6ES from NGK. Again, start this by hand, not by impact. When changing the air filter on this model, we're going to be using part number 937-05129A. This air filter comes with a package of silicone. The silicone is to be applied to the O-ring inside the filter to help seal the filter. Now, we're going to be replacing the fuel filter. Using some vice grips, clamp the fuel line. Remove the hose clamps from the fuel filter. Using a pair of diagonal pliers can help remove the hose. Something I like to do is to get a fuel sample to see if there is any water in the fuel. This fuel looks clear. So, we'll just pop off the old filter and install a new one. Reinstall the clamps. And remove the vice grips. Reinstall the air filter cover, blower housing, and starter. Check the oil. Reconnect the spark plug, because we're going to start this up and let it get warm to change the oil. Okay, now that it's warm, I'm using a siphon pump because it's fast. If you don't have one, there is a drain plug on the opposite side of the engine. We're replacing the oil filter with the factory part number of 951 to 12,690. Always apply a thin film of new oil to the O-ring of the new filter. And refill to just above the full mark. Because when you start the engine, it will fill the filter and lower the level on the dipstick. Start the engine and let it run for 30 seconds. And check the oil level and add more if needed. Unplug the spark plug and install the jack stand under the front of the mower deck. We're going to remove the blades to inspect and sharpen them. Yep, these look good. A lot of people sharpen their own blades and do a good job. But if you don't balance the blades, they can cause damage to your mower. $10 for someone to sharpen your blades right. Or hundreds of dollars in repairs? Your call. This is balanced. This is not balanced. When it's not balanced, I need to remove excess metal. Gotta love a balanced blade. So we just need to install these back. Now we're going to inspect the belts and pulleys. We'll remove the deck cover and we'll have access to the belts. Here you will want to inspect the belt for any cracks or rips. You will want to grab the pulleys and check for looseness. Then you will want to actuate the blade engagement. Be sure to inspect the drive belt located under the engine. If all looks good, then replace the deck cover and install the 3 screws. Plug the spark plug back up. Ensure the rear tires are inflated to 12 psi. Let's get this started and check for reverse. Blade engagement. Traveling while blade engagement. Well then, I guess you know what that means?
It looks like another one is good to go.